Hello guys, welcome to Study IQ. I'm Safir. In this session, we are going to discuss the Delhi Sultanate. So we started off with architecture during medieval time, and we discussed the salient features of Indo-Islamic architecture in the previous session. So here I will be starting with the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so first what we will be doing is we will be discussing the imperial and then we will discuss provincial. So right now we are going to discuss imperial, and once we complete this we will be moving towards the provincial, and in the same way once we're done with this we will discuss Mughal, there also imperial and provincial. So let's start with this imperial. Now guys, the first dynasty when we talk about in Delhi Sultanate, it is actually the slave dynasty. Okay, so slave dynasty, when we discuss, it is during the period 1206 to 1290. So who was the first ruler? It is Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, so Qutbuddin Aibak or the way you pronounce it. So Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, and he was actually an entrusted servant of Muhammad Ghori, and after the death of Muhammad Ghori, he himself declared as the Sultan of Delhi. Okay, so he declared the Sultan of Delhi. So Delhi Sultanate actually started from slave dynasty in 1206, and it's actually a short period, 1206 to 1290, which is around 84 years. And Qutbuddin Aibak established or founded the slave dynasty, and he is the only ruler from the slave dynasty, and all other rest of the rulers belong to Ilberi dynasty. Okay, so just remember these things guys. So slave dynasty, and he was the only ruler, and then rest of the rulers are from Ilberi dynasty. So we will discuss the features. So what we have done is we have already discussed about the Indo-Islamic features, right, when it comes to architecture. There I have comprehensively discussed everything. We combined everything. So here we can go specific under which dynasty, under which ruler, what all things has been introduced is what we are going to see here. So this is going to be very important for mains. But the previous session that we have done, that is going to be for mains, because here if you see under one ruler when we discuss, or under one dynasty when we discuss, there is not much to discuss, right? So there is no potential, there is no scope that they can ask you a mains question from one dynasty or one ruler, but they can ask you in prelims. If at all they need to ask a question in mains, it has to be something like combined, like features, salient features of Indo-Islamic architecture, like that. So you need to bring all those features. So here I'll be talking about the specific rulers and what all things they have brought during their time. Okay, so their style of architecture is known as Mamluk style. Okay, and guys, one more important thing that I want to discuss is these guys, they started converting the existing structures into Islamic architecture, means mosque. So guys, there were temples. In fact, they started converting the Jain temples and Hindu temples also into mosque. So we will see Jain temples have been converted, Krishna temples have been converted to mosque. And if you remember, I have discussed the same point in a much more diplomatic way. In the previous session, I told that these rulers gave massiveness, spaciousness and breadth to the existing architecture. In fact, when I talk about this massiveness, spaciousness, etc., they have converted the existing architecture to mosque or Islamic architecture. If you look into, let me show you. We discuss the features, right? Here, yeah, Delhi Sultanate. If you see, features of Indo-Islamic architecture: arc and dome. I'll be talking about that. Minar, use of mortar, and then look at this. They provided spaciousness, massiveness and breadth to existing Hindu and Jain architecture. Means they started converting the Hindu and Jain temples into mosque. Okay, and calligraphy, arabesque pattern. We discussed about this. What is this arabesque pattern, etc. They have used some geometrical shapes also to decorate the walls, and then jali work. Okay, and then water fountain, courtyard pools, etc. Like these are things which we have discussed. Okay. So we were talking about this Mamluk style, okay, and they started converting the existing architecture into mosque. One of the examples that I can talk about is Quwwat ul Islam. Quwwat ul Islam. Guys, these words are pronounced differently in different areas and by different person. So you may not agree with my way of pronunciation, but this is how I have learned it. So Quwwatul Islam, and this is a mosque in Delhi. Okay, and this was actually a Jain temple which was converted to a mosque. And then Adai Dink Jopda, the Adai Dinka Jopda. Okay, so it is also a Jain temple in Ajmer. So this was in Delhi, this is in Ajmer. It's again a Jain temple which was converted to mosque. Another example which is very famous, that is Qutb Minar. It was actually made from an existing Krishna temple. Okay, so from Krishna temple. So from here only, guys, that Minar tradition has started. If you remember, when I just before I talked about that architecture, I talked about arc, dome, Minar, mortar, etc. So from here is where that Minar, setup or the tradition is actually starting. And this Qutb Minar is actually named after a Sufi saint, Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Okay, Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, who was a Sufi saint, and the Qutb Minar actually named after him. So don't be confused. Just because this guy who's having name Qutbuddin Aibak, and if he is coming in the option, you may think that he was a ruler and it might be named after him. So that is the reason why I have discussed about this. So it is named after Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. So though it was actually started by whom? It was started by Qutbuddin Aibak, but it was actually completed by Iltutmish. Okay, so he started and completed by Iltutmish. Okay, and finally the fifth story is actually added by the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So Firoz Shah Tughlaq added the fifth story into this. So just remember that. Now that's about the first slave dynasty, and next will be Khilji dynasty. Okay, so who was the founder? Who established it? Jalaluddin Khilji. Jalaluddin Khilji. Okay, and then, but who's the most important ruler in Khilji dynasty? Alauddin Khilji. So most important, Alauddin Khilji. Okay. Now, the previous style I've told you, Mamluk style. The style developed during this time is known as Seljuk style. Okay. The style developed by them was actually known as Seljuk style. Just remember these names: Mamluk style, Seljuk style, etc. What are the features? Let's look into the features. See, guys, use of red sandstone. That is one of the typical feature. So use of red sandstone during this period, and I told about arc and dome. So introduction of arc and dome, right? Arc like this, dome, right? Like this. So arc and dome, and also use of mortar. Mortar means it's actually a mix of some cement, sand, and some kind of small stones. Okay, so use of mortar used as cementing agent. Okay, example. So we need to talk about examples in each case. So Alai Darwaza, guys, name, the pronunciation, Alai Darwaza. Okay, Delhi, and then Siri Fort. Okay. And also, this Alauddin Khilji laid the foundation of the city of Siri in 1304. Now guys, remember, the city of Siri is actually a precursor city of Delhi. So Delhi, if you see, it is actually a combination of 8 to 10 cities. It's an amalgamation of 8 to 10 existing cities. So one of that is actually Siri, very important city. So if that is the case, what are the other precursor cities of Delhi? I'm just keeping it aside and we will discuss briefly about that city separately, not part of architecture, just because for the knowledge purpose, in case if you're getting any question, that will be helpful. So Siri is one of that, okay, and it was established by Alauddin Khilji. Let me take a different page and I'll talk about those cities. So first we can discuss Indraprasth. Origin, it is mythical, okay, and then Lalkot, okay, so it was established by Tomar rulers of Delhi. Okay, and what is the speciality of this is actually, it is the first walled city in India. When I say first walled city, it had that boundary walls, okay. Okay, guys, let me tell you one more thing. Those who are in Delhi, the way you name the city may be different, so may not be the way I talk about. Next one, Kila Rai Pitora. Okay, established by Prithviraj Chauhan. And then Siri, I have already discussed, Alauddin Khilji. And then Tughlaqabad by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay, and then Jahapana by Muhammad ibn Tughlaq. Right, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad ibn Tughlaq. And then after Jahapana, we have Firoz Shah Kotla. Cricket ground is also, right? So established by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Just before I have mentioned this ruler for one other case. What is that? Qutub Minar, the fifth pillar, the fifth story is actually added by this ruler, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And one more which is actually incomplete, that is Din Panah. Okay, it is incomplete, you can write that. It was started by whom? It was started by Humayun, and he actually laid the foundation of this city, but actually he was defeated by Sher Shah Suri, and then he went back to Iran. So this city did not develop further, and this guy, Sher Shah Suri, actually developed another city, Shergarh. Okay, so Shergarh by Sher Shah Suri. And then one more, Shahjahanabad. Though Humayun came back later and he tried to re-establish and rebuild the city, but by that time he died actually. So these are the precursor cities of Delhi. Just for your knowledge, I have explained this when I talked about Siri. I told you it's a precursor city of Delhi and it was established by Alauddin Khilji. So we were talking about Khilji dynasty, we're talking about Khilji rulers, most important ruler Alauddin Khilji. So when we discussed about him, I told about the city of Siri and the speciality. The reason why we discussed all these things is city of Siri is actually one of the precursor city of Delhi. That means Delhi is actually the combination or amalgamation of some cities, and one among that is Siri, and other cities also we have discussed, and we also discussed established by which ruler. In case if you get any question, you should not be missing that. So that's it. And after Khiljis, it is Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, so Tughlaq dynasty, and here guys, so we have discussed about red sandstone, use of red sandstone. Now it will be changed to grey sandstone. It is easily available from Gandhar. At the same time, it is cheaper and it is strong also. So these rulers are of the opinion that you don't want the building to be too much beautiful. Instead, it has to be strong. So they have changed from red sandstones to grey sandstone, and also they have changed some the shapes of the structure also. Though it doesn't look beautiful, but it is very strong. So they are of the opinion that the building has to be stronger than beautiful. So Tughlaq dynasty, red sandstone to grey sandstone. So this period you can see that shift from grey sand to grey sandstone from red sandstone, because the rulers want the building to be stronger than beautiful. Okay, and then there is one more concept that I need to discuss, that is barter effect. barter effect. Okay, so barter effect is to make the building strong. What they do is they'll give a slope like this. So this is how they will make the building. You can see something like this, and here some kind of concrete setup and all will be made. So it doesn't look that great, it doesn't look so appealing or beautiful, but these buildings are very strong. Okay, so that is why I've told, and this is what barter effect. To make the building more stronger, they introduce the concept of this sloping walls, which is known as barter effect. And guys, during this period, Tughlaq dynasty, it is not that important from the perspective of architecture, because not much development have happened during this time, but they have founded some cities, established some cities, 3 important cities, which we have already discussed. What are they? This one, Tughlaqabad, okay, Ghayazuddin Tughlaq, and then this one, Jopana, that is by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and then Kotla, that is Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So these 3 are Tughlaq rulers: Ghayazuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So they established cities, not much architectural development during this period. Okay, so means there is not much buildings. Instead, they developed 3 important cities, and they became the precursor city of Delhi actually. So after this, then Sayyid dynasty. So when we talk about Sayyids are the original form of Muslims, means Islam. They are actually the original descendants, and they are from Turkey. Okay, so they are the purest of the pure. Like when we talk about Hindus also, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So we discuss that in terms of purity and impurity. Pure is at the top, impure at the bottom. Brahmins are the most pure, and the Dalits are the most impure. And there is a hierarchy which is maintained on the basis of this purity and impurity. Same way in Islam also, though there is no such concept of caste system and all, but in India, in Islam also, there is a caste system because of the influence of Hindus, and you will be seeing Ashraf, Ajlaf, Arzal, etc. among the Muslims, which is the caste among the Muslims. In fact, these are converters from Hinduism only. They came to Islam by looking at equality, but when they converted and when they came to India, when they came to Islam, still they have to maintain that caste difference even within Islam. So Ashrafs are the pure form, and then Ajlaf, then Arzals, like that. So here I am talking about the original Muslims. They are the descendants of that from Turkey. Okay. So next is Sayyid dynasty. So what is the contribution? They introduced this blue enameled tile from Turkey. So guys, first time blue enameled tile, in fact tile. So where is the origin of tile now? It is from Turkey. From where we got tiles? It is from Turkey. By whom? Sayyid dynasty. Okay. So blue enameled tile, and they also introduced Guldasta decoration. Guldasta decoration. Now, what do you mean by this Guldasta decoration? Something like this, right? There is a flower vase, something like this, and then you'll be keeping some flowers, right? Like this. You can draw it better. Okay, and then it has to be properly proper flower vase. So this is what the Guldasta decoration. And then after this, Lodhis. So after Sayyids, we have Lodhis. So who was the founder? Bahlol Lodhi. Guys, during this time there are few achievements, in fact, which is followed by the present day architecture also. Like they introduced the concept of double dome. Dome we have discussed already. Double dome. Double dome looks beautiful. It is stronger also. It is better also. Okay, so they introduced double dome. Okay, now what is this double dome? Guys, it will look like this. So you will make a circumference here, like the bigger one, and on top of that another small circumference, right? So you can actually make 2 circles. These are actually, like, take it as a 2 semicircle. And then if you see here, what I'll do is I'll just remove this. Okay, so what you get, can you see this? So this is actually a larger circle, right? And then that green one is actually a smaller circle. Okay, so this is what you mean by double dome, and then there will be some lines like this. Okay, so this looks beautiful, it's stronger and it's better than the domes that we discussed before. And if you see the present day Rashtrapati Bhavan, in fact, after the Lodhi's period, whatever dome is there, it is actually double dome. Rashtrapati Bhavan is a classical example, and then Taj Mahal. Okay, all these you will see the double dome. It doesn't look exactly the way what I want to draw, I want to show, but I hope you understood. It's just like this only. You'll make a circle like this and another one like this. So this is what the double dome is all about, right? And then you can remove it so that you can understand it exactly. Okay, and then there will be some lines like this. So this is what the double dome. Then they also introduced the concept of garden around the buildings. Lodhi garden. Okay, so garden around buildings. Example. Now garden. Okay, so just look into this. So we are talking about Lodhis, double dome, garden, and guys, Sikandar Lodhi established city of Agra. Okay, and city of Agra by Sikandar Lodhi, and they made it as the capital of Delhi Sultanate. It was the capital of Delhi Sultanate. So that's it, guys. This is about the imperial rulers and the developments happened during their period. We need to now discuss about the provincial developments, under the provincial rulers. So if you see what all things we discussed, let's look into this quickly. So slave dynasty, that is the first one. Okay, Qutbuddin Aibak, and then Mamluk style is what their architecture style. And then example Quwwatul Islam, which was a Jain temple which was converted, it is in Delhi. And then Adai Dinka Chopra, which is again a Jain temple in Ajmer. Qutub Minar, it was actually a Krishna temple. Okay, named after Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Though it started by Qutbuddin Aibak, it was completed by Iltutmish, and the fifth story is actually added by the Tughlaq ruler, who is Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, then next is Khilji dynasty by Jalaluddin Khilji, but Alauddin Khilji is the most important ruler. Their style is Seljuk style, use of red sandstone, then arc and dome, mortar is used as a cementing agent, like that. Then I told you Alauddin Khilji established this city of Siri in 1304, which is the precursor city, and we were talking about precursor cities like Indraprasth, Lalkot, Khilarai, Pitora, Siri, Tughlaqabad, Jahpana, Firoz Shah Kotla, Dina Pana, okay, Shergad, and Shahjahanabad. So next is Tughlaq dynasty. They believe that the building has to be stronger than beautiful, and they shifted from red sandstone to grey sandstone. And batter effect, in case if you get a question about this batter effect, it is actually a sloping wall to give strength to the architecture. It doesn't look that great like the others, but it's very, very strong. Okay, so then Sayyid dynasty introduced blue enameled tile and guldasta decoration, and then Lodhis double dome, and then garden around the buildings. So guys, these are the things that you need to remember in case if they're asking the style Indo-Islamic architecture features, you should be in a position to write. Earlier we just wrote about the features, now we discussed it under different rulers, under different dynasty, so you can mix this two and you will be in a position to write very good answer. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll stop here. I'll continue in the next session. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. See you in the next session.